Welcome to Channel 17, the Town of Colonie Government Channel.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lynn Taylor, President of the Albany Colonie Regional Chamber of Commerce, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to our annual State of the Town breakfast. We are so looking forward to hearing from Colonie Town Supervisor Paula Mahan as she lays out her vision for the town in one of her first appearances since being sworn into office only a few weeks ago. And we appreciate so much your being with us here today, Paula. We hope you inform your colleagues who aren't here that they can view today's program on the web by clicking on the link on our home page. And that's courtesy of our friends at Gracie Communications Group. And I believe the Town of Colonie will be linking from the town site to our site so that anyone in the Town of Colonie or anywhere who's interested in hearing what Paula had to say today will be able to see it on the web. In addition, Paula's remarks will be available as a podcast on the Chamber's website, courtesy of Cotton Hill Studios. We thank them so much for being with us this morning. Before we hear from your town supervisor, I'd like to introduce the new chair of the Colonie Business Council, Felton McLaughlin. Felton?
Thanks, Len. Good morning, everyone. But before I begin, I'd like to start by recognizing several elected officials that are here with us this morning. Albany County Executive Mike Breslin, Albany County Legislator Sean Ward, Colonie Village Mayor Frank Leake, Colonie Town Councilman Brian Hogan, Colonie Town Clerk Liz Del Tordo, and Cohoes Mayor John McDonald. Thank all of you for your dedicated support. There's no doubt that 2007 was another great year in the town of Colonie. Ranked as one of the safest municipalities in the nation, the town continues to diligently work to provide numerous services to its residents and businesses. And there are a number of projects and activities currently taking place in the town, including the expansion of Colonie Center Mall. It's already brought us the world-renowned Cheesecake Factory, and soon a 14-screen Cineplex. This morning you hear about the future direction of the town as change is on the horizon. In November, Paula Mahan was elected Colonie Town Supervisor, defeating 12-year incumbent Mary Brazell. She's the first Democrat since 1931 to hold any town office in Colonie. Town-wide office in Colonie. Previously, Paula spent 22 years teaching in the North Colonie Central School District, and now she tackles the challenge of running a town government. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to introduce the new Town Colonie Supervisor, Paula Mahan.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome. You're probably all wondering what's a school teacher doing running your town. I assure you it will be okay. Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to join you today. I especially want to thank Lynn Taylor, President of the Albany County Regional Chamber of Commerce, for extending this invitation to our great town for several years. And I also would like to acknowledge all of my colleagues, all of our elected officials here this morning. I can tell you they've all offered their assistance to me as I take on this big challenge, and I do appreciate all the assistance that they have given me. So thank you. As just the second female supervisor in the history of our town, let me just say how proud I am to be serving in this leadership role, and how good it feels to see Lynn, another female, working as hard as she does for the betterment of the Tech Valley region. Lynn, your leadership is truly appreciated, and I look forward to working with you for many years to come. Though I am not the host today, I still want to take the opportunity to welcome all of you here to the town of Colonie. I see many familiar faces here today, and for those of you who I haven't had the opportunity to meet, I look forward to the chance in the near future. As you can imagine, the past few months have been exhilarating and exhausting. As I become adjusted to the pace, I can honestly say I have thoroughly enjoyed each and every minute of it. Trying to wrap my arms around all the details that encompass managing a town with nearly 800 employees and a budget of over $83 million has been a tremendous challenge. But in retrospect, I have taught junior high for over 22 years. It's not so bad. You ought to see what it's like to be in a building with about 900 teenagers all in one spot. It's quite interesting. Fortunately, one thing that happens when you win an election is that a lot of people start to offer you advice. And it's not all bad. In fact, I found some of it to be very useful. Immediately following the election, I worked to assemble a diverse transition team from various backgrounds. We sought people with municipal government experience, private sector experience, and individuals from the organized labor movement as well. Their assistance was invaluable in my preparation to take office on January 1st. And now many of them remain involved in various capacities as part of this administration. But there's always more room at the table, and I encourage you to seek me out with your concerns, ideas, or innovations. It's an exciting time in the history of the town, and your ideas and input are essential to make a better Colonie. As I stated a little less than a month ago in my remarks as I took the oath of office, Colonie Town Hall is an open house. This was more than a symbolic statement. During my campaign, we promised to restore fiscal integrity in the town, and we'll get into that momentarily, but also to promote transparency in our government. In the coming months, I will present my colleagues on the town board with a series of reforms that ensures Colonie government will be the gold standard when it comes to public integrity. This has a direct impact on the business community, where projects will now be based solely on their merits. We will systematically level the playing field and create an open system that is equally accessible to everyone. These practices have left us facing the stark reality that the problems of our town is facing are real. We have inherited a deficit that exceeds the initial figure derived by Moody's Investor Services last summer. That figure was over $8 million, which amounts to about 10% of our operating budget. So as you can imagine, the primary focus of my transition efforts and as supervisor has been to address the financial crisis the town is facing. Certainly and fortunately, Colonie, in the heart of New York's Tech Valley, has remained an ideal location to do business. Strategic commercial growth will be a critical component to the financial improvement we are seeking. And let me assure you, I will keep Colonie regarded as a business-friendly community and moreover as a municipality that will aggressively seek ways to attract and retain businesses and jobs. Our town is home to approximately 80,000 residents with an average household income of over $60,000. It's easy to see why Colonie has had tremendous success through the years as a prime location for retail businesses. As the home of the Albany International Airport, we have been able to capitalize as an ideal location for the hotel and restaurant industry, as well as the various industries that require a close proximity to air travel. The strength of our commercial tax base is essential to our return to prosperity. It will take a strong commitment, discipline, and restraint to rein in spending. To that extent, one of the first policies I advocated was a spending freeze on everything non-essential to the town's functioning. This step is the first in our efforts to determine just how serious the fiscal conditions are and to give us a benchmark to work from as we try to reverse the trend of deficit spending in the town. So as we move forward, what we have to do is continue smart growth of the tax base while we curtail spending and at the same time exceed expectations with service delivery. To some extent, I feel like a member of the Steinbrenner family trying to put together a great baseball team, adding talented free agents to complement the core of 800 town employees. We're fortunate to have a municipal workforce that is second to none, and they are all being asked to play a crucial role in the efforts to restore the town's financial outlook. And of course, they are the first line in our efforts to exceed service expectations. One of my initial duties as supervisor was to determine who would head our town's planning and economic development efforts, because this office will be a critical component to the financial recovery of our town. I knew we needed someone with real experience, yet I wanted someone who demonstrated the aggressive entrepreneurial approach that would ensure responsible commercial growth remains a top priority in our town. As I tossed the names of potential candidates around with various advisors, one name continually came up, and that was Joe LaCivita. Joe, if you don't know, served as a deputy administrator in the Empire State Development Corporation under Governor Pataki, and more recently has taken a leading position in the revitalization of Cohos's Remsen Street with his family's opening of a wine store and bakery. The New York wine cellar caters exclusively to New York labels, and the bake shop features various products from throughout New York State. Next month, he is planning to unveil a tapas bar and cafe. I was certain Joe was the ideal candidate, but now there was a huge problem. With all this on his plate, how could we ever get him to return to public service and get on board with our team? Luckily for us, Joe, without hesitation, was up to the challenge, and I'm proud to have him as in our great town, on our great team, I should say, as our Director of Planning and Economic Development. Thank you, Joe. Together with Joe, we've set some ambitious goals for 2008, including the development of a town-wide open space plan. The process of drafting the Pathways Plan, which will enhance the town's sidewalks, trails, and bike paths, is underway. We're also set to receive our first installment of incentive zoning funds that we'll use for the acquisition of important parcels for conservation and the preservation of open space. Also, one of the town's most important business corridors, which runs along Central Avenue from the town line to New Carner Road, will be completely resurfaced by the state DOT. As part of these improvements, Joe's office will be designing the town's first gateway between Northway Mall and Colonie Center. The gateway is going to be a raised landscaped island that will inform folks they have entered our town. We'll also be exploring other gateway enhancements at River Road and Loudon Road along the Mohawk River waterfront. The rest of our team will be undertaking or completing several other projects in 2008. Most interesting to those in the business community is the town's participation in the Exit 3 Project Advisory Committee. The committee will guide the development of the extensive project increasing access to the Albany International Airport and alleviate many of our traffic concerns surrounding the area. We anticipate initial designs to be submitted later this year. We're also anticipating the completion of the $7 million Mohawk View Water Pollution Control Plant Upgrade project. The upgrade is the second phase of a comprehensive improvement to the over 30-year-old facility and includes a roof replacement, a new heating and ventilation system, and other various pieces of equipment that had exceeded their useful life. And speaking of exceeding their useful lives, our MIS department has nearly completed their rollout of a completely upgraded computer system, which marks the first significant upgrade since 2000. Until this rollout, I understand the town was operating at a speed of 56K. I don't profess to understand what that means, but what I do know is we're moving from the Stone Age to the Information Age, and all this will contribute toward improved efficiency in town government. To that extent, our police department is leading the way on the implementation of a state-of-the-art digital radio system to be utilized by all departments townwide, as well as both school districts and the Manans Police. Our department is one of the highest regarded departments throughout the state, and they deserve the credit for our continued designation as one of America's safest communities. Recently, I had the opportunity to join Chief Hyder and District Attorney Soares to unveil our state-of-the-art video technology in the Public Safety Building. The system monitors all areas a prisoner would travel while in custody and creates the potential to save literally millions in future litigation and internal investigations. The final project I'll mention today is one I am really looking forward to. The development of a Colonie Veterans Memorial at the Crossings Park is a concept of a fitting tribute to the men and women who have served our country in the military. It's long overdue, and if you don't mind, I'd like to throw in a quick sales pitch and let you know that if you'd like to support this project, you can find more information by visiting www.colonie.org or by calling me directly in the Supervisor's office. Many volunteers are working to make this project a reality. And most recently, students on our Youth Bureau decided as part of their annual lobby day at the state legislature to lobby our representatives for financial support of the memorial. It's truly a collaborative effort, and we will be relying heavily on friends from the community to support this project. When finished, the Colonie Veterans Memorial will be a focal point of the Crossings Park and a lasting tribute that will rightfully tell the story of sacrifice that our service veterans have made so we can continue to enjoy our freedom and quality of life. Again, if you or your company are interested in playing a role in this collaborative project, please don't hesitate to contact me. There are certainly many exciting developments to look forward to, but it will take a collaborative effort by government, residents, and each of you in our business community to ensure the preservation of the quality of life for Colonie families. I encourage all of you to get involved and be active in this endeavor. Thank you for participating in this morning's program, and I look forward to working with all of you in the future. Have a great day. So I can take a few questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Paula? Now remember, she's new on the job, so be kind. Come on, all you Colonie residents and businesses, I know you've got things going on in your mind.
I have a question about some comments that you've made and said you would address about the fiscal responsibility of the town. What are you doing internally to address those points?
Okay. The question, if it's hard to hear from the audience, but the question regards the fiscal situation in the town and what are we doing internally to try to help the situation. Okay. Well, we're doing a number of things actually. We're in the process right now. We've gone through 3 analyses at this point of the financial situation, and we're waiting for the 4th. I'm a strong believer that it's not a wise thing to just look at one analysis and determine where we're at. By extending it to at least 4, we're going to get much more valid results. If it's consistent across all 4, we'll know pretty much where we are. And so far, the 3 that I've looked at are very consistent. We've been reviewing a report from that was done last year by a corporation called Munistat, and also I have had an extensive review by a group of experts that were on our transition team, and they reviewed the finances as well, and their findings were very close to the other analysis. And on a daily basis, I'm working with my comptroller and deputy comptroller, and we are going over everything line by line to try to determine how the money was spent, where there's waste, where there are ways to restructure, and still be able to deliver the services that our residents are accustomed to. We're finding that there's a lot of duplication, that internal controls definitely need to be tightened up. The town is separated into approximately 26 different department heads. When you have that many people in a town the size running various departments, it does inhibit the communication a little bit, because it's difficult to keep up with that many people. And I'm finding that from the department heads themselves, they're reaching out and have been asking for more communication, and have stated that that was lacking in the past. So we need to become a more collaborative group. We have some wonderful people with experts in various fields, but we're not sharing information enough. One thing that I've done just in the first few weeks is I've changed the entire process of meeting with department heads. Rather than meeting as a whole with 26 people. I feel like, I felt at my first meeting I was again at the head of a classroom, except a classroom maybe from 30 years ago. People were a little quiet and not as apt to come forward with the issues. And you don't, it's not as productive, because you may have someone from the water department that's listening to issues about the library or the youth bureau. So it just didn't seem to be an effective way of doing things. So we've broken down into clusters, and the amount of communication just in a few weeks has been unbelievable. It's been tremendous. So I'm seeking recommendations from our department heads as well. Simple little measures. In our water department, our department director just tweaked one of the policies that we have, and in an instant it saved $57,000. Another department head did the same thing, and in an instant $30,000. Restructuring some types of jobs, bringing them up to 2008, running a corporation, if you will, and just making sure that people are being used for the right purposes, of course with the right qualifications, so that we can move forward. We've been doing all of that. So we are definitely working on a daily basis. Every day, as I say, I meet with my comptroller, and it is my primary focus right now. It's a serious issue, and it's going to take some serious measures to fix. There's no question about it. Frankly, I didn't think it was as serious as it is. And walking into it, just being there for 3 weeks, I have been able to cover a lot of territory. But as I say, I have been working, prior to taking oath. I was working for a good couple of months before that, really delving into the issue to make sure that it gets the attention that it needs. You're welcome. Yes?
Paula, you touched on the strength of our commercial tax base, and that's business, all right? And as far as construction goes and bringing new businesses in, will things move along quicker than before?
I've heard that complaint a lot, that things don't move fast enough. But I also, being a resident in the town for many years, I've observed the planning process on many occasions. And one of the problems, you may have been at meetings and heard me question some things, but there were a lot of discrepancies in timing, in projects moving forward. That's what I mean when I say we're going to level out the playing field. The opportunity for business in the town should be equal no matter who you are or what you bring to the table. All we're asking is that all of the T's are crossed, all of the I's are dotted, and we want to be as fair and as open and transparent as possible. We have adjusted the planning process slightly. We have a new planning board director, and we are also looking at the planning board initially met every week. We're looking to have it meet every 2 weeks, but to have it much more user-friendly, so when you get there, you'll be able to review plans before the meeting. You'll be able to get some feedback from planners that will be there so that you can see what was done previously. And as I said, I think by ruling out some of those discrepancies, we're hoping that that will lend to a smoother process and for all things to be done in more of a timely manner. You're welcome. Yes, sir.
You mentioned at the top kind of a budget deficit of approximately $8 million. What is your sense of how much of that is a revenue shortfall from expectations and how much of that is from expenditures exceeding expectations?
Well, from what I can gather, so far, and from the reports that I've been given, the revenue that's coming in, it was pretty close to the expenditures. There's always, when you're in a town of this size, there's always going to be some borrowing. But why things are so out of balance, it's pointing to overspending, again, lack of internal controls, not putting a plan in place sooner. This is not something that occurred this year. This has been going on steadily, the last 4 years. It hasn't been good. And prior to that, there's been probably another 3 or 4 years that you could see things start to deteriorate. The best way to put it is if someone is using credit cards and then they keep buying or spending and they have so much money to spend and they begin to exceed that, and so they get more credit cards and they just keep building and building, and before you know it, you have a lot of interest to pay, and it's a high rate because our bond rating has dropped, and we're one step above Schenectady and one step below Albany, which for a town like Colonie, that's kind of hard to understand. But we definitely, as a team, as an entire workforce, as a community, we will put interventions in place to begin to turn things around. We have to. If we don't, our bond rating, we risk the chance of our bond rating getting to a point of junk bonds. And I know all of this sounds very foreign in a town like Colonie, and I wish that I wasn't the person that had to bring this to you. But this is my job, and I have to do it. And I assure you that we will do everything in our power as a team in Colonie to reverse this trend and get on a path of being healthy again in the financial area. Yes.
I don't have a question. I just want to acknowledge you because I am very happy to see you really took the bull by the horns and took on a challenge of a 12-year incumbent, and I just really want to congratulate you and thank you for your obvious love of this town and your commitment to making a difference.
Thank you very much. Your feedback is very appreciated. Yes.
You spoke of the collaboration between government, residents, and business. And there's another area in the town of Colonie that's a substantial portion of the tax base and also has an impact on the livelihood of the town, and that is education. As an educator, how do you see that relationship moving the town forward with education at all levels, including the college level?
Well, I think you bring up a good point, and certainly education is always included in a plan of this size. As an educator, I look at things from, from toddler stage right through college age, and I look at how each group transitions from one stage to the next. Regarding education, I plan to meet with all of our school districts. They need to be a part of the plan as the town is growing. They need to understand as far as what type of space is needed. Are the buildings going to be sufficient for the number of maybe new people that come into the area? And as far as providing education as we go on, we certainly try to include our youth and bring them into our world as a government running, and I intend to do more of that as my time frees up a little bit. I certainly place that high on my list as an educator, and making our students understand that part of the education that we provide to them is we're building, they're part of the building blocks for the future. They need to know clearly what the expectations are academically, but also how they can participate in the community as well. And when we get on to the college level, certainly we want to do everything we can to foster that opportunity for any student that would like to go to college. And I think by keeping them more informed at every level, and they are capable of understanding an awful lot, that they will be more productive and more engaged as we go on. So we will try to, again, promote that. When you have motivating forces and you include your students in the area in what's going on, they begin to be a part of the process. And the trick is to make sure that they are engaged, and when they are engaged, then the results, they have a stake in the results. So I think as far as, if I can answer your question in one statement, we will definitely be including education as part of our program, and I would like to increase the amount of information that we're able to share with our districts and our students and our families, and it's kind of a ripple effect. Once you open the door, there's more than enough opportunity to engage people in that process. Quiet group. Well, thank you very much.
Welcome to Channel 17, the Town of Colonie Government Channel.